How doing? I'm Shamar Pottis. Today I'm going to be talking about this current scientific problem, which is the lack of reporting on phosphorus supply chain and how it is dangerous for our global food security. But before I talk about that topic, first we need to know what phosphorus is. Phosphorus is an essential macronutrient needed for food production and human life, yet it has no substitute. Because phosphorus is a main limiting factor to plant growth, access to industrially produced inorganic pea fertilizers has been indispensable for the green revolution and the contemporary large-scale, high-productivity, large-scale. Estimates from the United Nations point towards over 9 billion food demand increase of 60% for the same period, which will in turn trigger an increase in global phosphorus demand. More than 85% of the phosphorus in agriculture comes from processing mined phosphate rock. Phosphate rock is a finite natural resource globally, distributed in a limited number of countries. According to the latest data of the United States Geographical Survey, most phosphorus reserves are found in Morocco, Western Sahara, USA, China, Russia. Now, let's get into the lack of reporting on phosphorus supply chain and the dangerous aspect of it and the threat toward global food security. A new study actually shows that while phosphorus is a key element to global food security, its supply chain is a black box because this can lead to social, political, and environmental issues, which in turn can create phosphorus supply crisis. Our global food production system uses 53 tons of phosphate fertilizers annually, processed from 217 million tons of mined phosphate rock. Estimates show up to 90% phosphate loss from mine to fork. A considerable part of this loss is phosphate pollution in water, some of which creates dead zones. Areas where little or no marine life can survive, with an increase in food demand by 60% toward 2050 actually. Our food production system will need even more phosphate fertilizers, but where do the fertilizers come from and where do they go? On UN, which is the United Nations, estimates a population increase to 9 billion by 2050, correlated with a 60% increase in food demand. In a world where almost a billion people undernourished and where we waste up to a half of all food we produce, this will pose new challenges to our global food supply chain and production system. A key variable for food production is the supply of phosphate fertilizers, most of which some come from the mining and processing of phosphate rock. Only a handful of countries produce and export phosphate rock and fertilizers. A phosphate market that is tending towards a monopoly. The later stages of the supply chain also see up to 90% losses, and the transformation of phosphorus from a valued resource into one of the main causes of eutrophication. Yeah. The study, which is part of a larger European research project called Adaptation to a New Economic Reality, identifies 4 main challenges with reporting on phosphorus and phosphate fertilizers. First is terminologies and methodologies that are used to report on phosphate deposits are not harmonized and sometimes not transparent. This makes estimations of reserves and resources inaccurate and unreliable. Second, the phosphorus supply chain has to be has up to 90% losses which are poorly documented, and losses occur along all segments. Let's get that clear. Losses occur along all segments of the supply chain, and its fragmentation of information makes it hard to accurately report on how much is lost and where. Better reporting on help design methods to decrease losses and increases efficiency. Third, where are environmental and social consequences occurring along the supply chain of phosphorus. For example, mining and processing phosphate rock is polluting water bodies as we speak. This is the thing. For example, as I said, the mining and processing phosphate rock is polluting water bodies and is dangerous to human, and moreover, the phosphorus that leaks from agricultural land and sewage system into the water can cause eutrophication, as I said earlier. And the so-called dead zones areas in our oceans and seas where life cannot be supported anymore. But there is a social and ethical aspect to phosphorus too. Phosphate rock is increasingly mined from contested areas such as Western Sahara in what has been described by some illegal exploitation. Fourth, open access to data along the phosphorus supply chain is lacking. The authors reinforce the idea that public knowledge on phosphorus and its supply chain is necessary. Due to its direct link to food, a basic human right, also reporting on phosphorus can help on access progress on a number of global indicators for sustainability, such as the sustainable development goals.